So this pivots on a definition of what is excellent. Excellent bottom line performance, i.e. huge cash surpluses at the end of the year, is not excellence if it has been achieved at the expense of the group or society or other people.
That is why we define excellence as that which is filled with goodness.
And goodness isn't necessarily expressed by the stock market value or bottom line performance, you're saying?
Stock market is also consisting of investors who are again individuals. If individuals are reformed, stock market performance, the pressure on CEOs, everything, the whole dynamics changes.
So in some ways you are advocating a move away from, I can use the example, from gross domestic product to gross domestic happiness, if you like, which is a measure that they use in the state of Bhutan. There has to be a much broader understanding of any group, any company's, any organization's contribution to society as a whole.
We can use any words and any labels. The idea remains the same, that an individual will perform best if he is able to take out the best within himself, that is excellence and goodness. And that excellence and goodness will contribute value in a unique way which expresses his individuality. When he expresses his individuality, then the firm or the company where he works can express its individuality in a new and unique way. Then firms and companies do not have to copy each other. If firms and companies don't copy each other, the pressure on the same scarce resources will not be there. The environment may then benefit.
You're saying that one of the paths through to a better society free of recessions are companies that provide people much more room for personal expression and much more room for their own creativity, both as individuals and in a group context.
When man uses concepts of ancient wisdom and rises in Maslow's need hierarchy, his individuality and his creativity are natural outcomes of this process. And when they are filled with goodness, they add value not only to him but to society, and they lead to economic prosperity in a dimension that we are not experiencing today. And since we are not experiencing it today, it is difficult for us to discuss, imagine or believe it.
Reading your book, one might argue that you have sidestepped the issue of man's natural competitiveness, which can lead you down the road to win-lose games. How do you answer that criticism?
That idea of competitiveness is based on the fact that you are comparing yourself with others. When you are seeking excellence within yourself, you are comparing yourself with your own past performance. You are trying to improve yourself. When you are comparing yourself with others, there is jealousy, there is copying. True wisdom does not involve copying anybody. It involves unleashing the individuality and creativity in a manner that is filled with goodness. Then there is no competition possible, because each of us are expressing our individuality.
But most business organizations are based on individuals sublimating some of their own desires, their own uniqueness, if you like, and their own aspirations for the sake of the company, the organization. They have to fit in to the idea of the corporate philosophy, the brand image, and so forth. How do you work your way around that? When you join a group, when you join a company, you become the company.
The role of discipline is very important in any training which enables wisdom to emerge within you. The norms of group are important. However, what is the nature of those norms is more important. Ancient wisdom deals with the quality of the norms that are set. If the norms are better and higher, they will enable the best within the individual to come out over a period of time.
Are we putting too much emphasis too on the educational system here? Surely the family, the individual, society, even nations have a role in at least trying to reduce the level of greed in a society.
Right now, education is considered to be the ability to get a degree. The degree is not important. It is the degree of perfection, excellence and goodness that we perform at work which is more valuable. That degree of excellence and goodness can come through the family, through many other situations, on the sports field, through participation in an orchestra, any group activity which makes us sensitive to the needs and to the excellence of the group. The performance of an orchestra gets value not only through individual excellence but also through group excellence. The performance of a soccer team depends not only on individual excellence but the gestalt of group's excellence. That is the training ground, as important as the textbook.
This ascent of man through Maslow's hierarchy, how does it help prevent recession, which is the basic thesis of your book?
When man rises up the hierarchy, he is not motivated by greed. We share the same basic needs as animals, but as we realize that we have needs apart from the basic necessities and we keep rising up the hierarchy, we slowly shun greed, anger, jealousy and many other traits like this. Then we are able to actualize our potential. Actualizing the potential implies that we understand our differentiation from the animal world. What is truly human in us, the human qualities which are symbolized by the human values, they come out. These values are common across philosophies, across religions, across curriculum.
In an attempt to alleviate recessions, we've had great ideas, great economists, great thinkers provide us with, for example, John Maynard Keynes, state intervention, Milton Friedman, free markets. It's questionable whether they have worked in the way that you or I would like in assuring constant economic performance. Why is your approach going to work when theirs hasn't?
All the theoretical approaches are generally reactive. They are reacting to a situation and trying to give a solution. The approach that this book takes is proactive. Before a problem occurs, if the foundation of the solution is there, then the problem is unlikely to occur.
And free markets, but the freedom that we seek in all economic activity has been there from the very, very start. People have merely come along and restated an original idea or an original wisdom. So I suppose really we are saying that great ideas really have no authors and no time. They are timeless and they are there for us all, both to preach and to practice. Would you agree?
Man always has freedom to do what he wants, so long as he is not hurting another person. That is righteous conduct. Ancient Indians called it dharma. So long as we are not hurting society, there will be no recession. If greed comes in the picture, then we begin slowly to hurt others. If only one person is polluting, the environment can take it. But if everybody feels that nobody is looking, let me pollute, then the collective impact of that is difficult to handle. Today we have that pollution not only of the environment but also of the social environment as well as the economic environment.
Your book is very strong on the whole idea of creating individual wisdom. But how do you reconcile that with the need for collective wisdom? Are they contradictory? Are they the same? Because ultimately most societies, companies, organizations express themselves through collective wisdom. How does individual and collective wisdom work?
One leads to the other. Without individual wisdom, collective wisdom will not happen. And if there is only collective wisdom without individual wisdom, the individual will not be able to implement the collective wisdom because he has not understood it. Therefore, it is best to start with individual wisdom, for that will build up collective wisdom.
That is the foundation on which you start to make the changes that you outline in how to prevent recession. Reading the book, it's clear to me that this book is more than simply preventing recessions. It's about an entirely different approach to the conduct of one's personal life and how one approaches life in an organization or a company. Is that a fair comment?
In fact, this book approaches the problem of all problems that society can face. If each individual is contributing his best, then not only recession, but all social problems should get solved.